a dream, oh, I have a dream. Red, white, and blue, fly free, fly free. I believe, oh, I believe. Will you dream with me?
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Changing Times, Wednesday, August the 31st. What a beautiful day outside. We have got a great show lined up today. We've got Cliff Davis. He is the president, a friend of mine, and president of Ozark Technical Community College, Ozark's Community Technical College. And what I'm hoping that parents and grandparents will listen and hear and understand is not every child has to go to a 4-year college. It's great if you're going to be an engineer or a doctor or a pharmacist or something like that. But you know what? They're a lawyer. But guess what? There are so many jobs today, high paying jobs, that are technical jobs that you guys have those certificate programs for in 1 or 2 years. And they can be making more money than a lot of people who've gone to college.
Yeah.
And today with inflation and the cost of living and things like that, you need to have a job that makes money.
And it's going to be needed in the future.
Oh, yeah.
Some things come and go, but there's always going to be a need for a lineman or the plumbers or any kind of technician.
And I think that's what you all have the pulse of. You know, you're looking ahead in the future. You and Dr. Higdon are looking ahead to see how Higdon is the chancellor. Is the area going to need 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And that's what you have to do. You don't want to be studying a profession now that's got a dead end street.
Absolutely.
Okay. And even though you may be needed right now, what if you're not needed in 5 years? So you've got these ideas and you're focused in the long run, the future. And I think that's going to be great. So basically tell the people what's the main difference between the 2-year technical college and a 4-year university?
Sure. The university system has been around for so many years, and it's historically your year 1 through year 4, get a degree in some, English, math, philosophy, whatever. I have a bachelor's, a master's, and a doctorate. I'm a big proponent, obviously, of the university system. But community colleges were originally designed to address the more rural areas of our states. Mm-hmm. So in Missouri, if you look at where most of the community colleges are, they're in the rural areas, right. Not St. Louis. Now they are in St. Louis and Kansas City and Springfield, but if you look at the vast majority, they're positioned so students could leave home, go to the community college, get their first 2 years, or get technical training or health science training, nurse, whatever.
Was that based on the agricultural need?
It was based, right. So students could stay home and help with farm, if you will.
Okay.
Now, that has expanded because community colleges were such a hit that, that you have St. Louis and Kansas City, they have huge community college systems. They're feeders for a large number of universities. So year 1, year 2 in general education, then transfer to the University of Missouri, Kansas City, or Mizzou, for example. But community colleges also had a very robust mission to do the technical training that you and I have spoken about so many times. So whether you want to be an automotive technician, body work, robotics, heating and air, HVAC, construction trades, we teach all of that. And the industry, they're clamoring for us to produce more graduates. The problem is we have the programs, but we've got to change the minds, the hearts and minds of your listeners, Lynn. You talked about grandparents, parents. We need to be able to tell young people that if you want a job for the rest of your life, never be unemployed, never be fired, always have a job, always be paid extremely well, get into the trades.
Right.
Because there's not enough people in the trades. We're always going to need trades. I had a guy work on my air conditioner earlier in the summer. And let me tell you, I was so thankful to have him as we were moving.
When you can find them right now, they're very valuable.
Not too many weeks ago, I had an issue with my transmission, and had a very talented person. All of these issues that we have and we take for granted, those things are being fixed by people who got their education in the trades. And let me tell you, they're smarter than me. They know what they're doing, and they are in demand like no other.
And we're trying to inform people of all these other options that their children and their grandchildren could be steered towards, as opposed to being an astrophysicist. Nothing wrong with that, But, why not go learn how to work on cars or learn a
Right.
trade like nursing or anything, that's
Right.
going to keep you at home and advance your career. And I know you said you're reaching out to some of the younger people. And we talked about some of the junior high or middle school
Right.
kids. You've got a new center, advanced manufacturing center
Correct.
that you
Right,
guys have
right.
developed. Tell us a little bit about that.
So we're not the first in the nation, but we're certainly first in the state of Missouri. We're probably maybe number 4 or 5 in terms of really high tech, sophisticated, advanced manufacturing. It is a 120,000 square foot facility. It is rocket science. It really is rocket science, and
So is it actually is it manufacturing anything, or is it just to set up like a stage? Or I'm trying to visualize.
No, well, you've got to tour it because it's unbelievable. So we are teaching, but we're teaching in labs that are state of the art. Here's the beauty: we have, and I don't know if the number is 40,000 square feet. We have a huge area that's set up for staging. So whenever a company in Southwest Missouri is developing a new line, or they're buying a company, or they're needing to retrain, they can bring all of their equipment into this white space, and it's set
It's a
up.
blank canvas, I guess.
It's a blank canvas. They can set it up. They can bring their employees in, and they can teach. Well, first they can trial run and see if it's going to work like they want it. Then they can train
test
the
run.
employees. But at the same time, our students are there in the middle of it, watching it. Talking about some first class training is to watch.
Do they get to have a little hands on to try to figure things out to make it work better?
They will. I mean, it's not going to be free labor, if you will.
Right.
But they're going to get to watch it live, and they're going to see it, and I'm sure they're going to be welcome to say, "Hey, listen, we're trying to solve this problem, how to fix it." And there's going to be a kid in that room that'll have a great idea.
They'll have a light bulb go off and go, "Hey, what about this?"
And some of those students may be hired by those companies too, right?
Absolutely. But to your earlier question, though, when we built it, 120,000 square feet, as you walked in, and it's a beautiful, beautiful facility. And it's the cornerstone of our Springfield campus on Chestnut and National. When you walk in the door, we put in this great staging area. It's not seats, but it's kind of stair-stepped seating area. We're going to be bringing in busloads of 6th graders, 5th graders, 7th, 8th graders. We're going to bring in the young people, because that's the problem we have today. When you graduate from high school and you want to go to the university, and good for you if that's the direction you want to go, but if you really would probably be better suited for the trades, because you have that mind to fix. And by the way, fixing is not always the hardest part. It's figuring out what to fix. That's the hard part.
Right. Diagnosis.
The diagnosis, and you have that mindset, and you're able to understand it and then fix it. But you don't really know about the trades until you show up at OTC, but you're already kind of heading down a different path. What we're trying to do is change the mindset so young people can see how cool the trades are, because they really are. I'm sitting here in a blue suit and a white shirt. I have a certification in auto mechanics from when I was in high school, a trade school. I have a trade degree. That was my first degree. Then I graduated from high school. Then I went on to Missouri State University. But my point is, it takes a certain kind of brain. And, I'm able, I was in an office environment the other day, and somebody was talking about, their car was doing this, or this. And I said, oh, well, this is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's what the mechanics said.
How'd you know that?
Once you have it,
school.
Exactly. Technical school.
But that's part of that success, and learning those things and being able to carry it on into the future. So you do have a successful future. I've got friends that went to a technical school, I think up in Lynn, Missouri, back in the late 80s, after we graduated from Kickapoo. And those guys still to this day, that's how they make their living, and they make a great living.
Sure.
They do a great job. So OTC recently rolled out a new student success redesign, I guess. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Very proud of that. We're not the first one in the nation to do it, but I'm guessing we're probably pushing the top 5. So think about higher education as it's been delivered for the last 100 years. You're a prospective student or a current student. You walk into the student services building and you say, okay, gee, I need help with advisement. There's that door. Or over here is financial aid, or over here. And what we've offered is a person that's waiting for you to come and ask me a question. And then
Any question.
And then we'll discover you're in the wrong spot, because you have 12 questions, or there's 12 offices, and your question is specific to that office, right? That is how we deliver student services by and large across the nation. We stole some new models out of Texas and some other places, student success, where we have a navigator model. So we have completely disassembled the departments we had, and we've created new departments. So on my campus, I have 3 navigators, and every student at the Richwood Valley campus is assigned to a navigator. And with the exception of the intake, where we have an admissions counselor who I mean, you're going to deal with 2 people through your entire career. That first month or 2 through the admissions process, 1 person. Then you get your navigator, and that's the only person you deal with. And rather than waiting to get something in the mail, and then like, oh, I got a question about that, and let's go stand in line, your navigator will be constantly reaching out to you. And I say constantly, I don't mean every hour, every day, but as things need to be done. So we're now in the business of hand holding. So somebody listening is going to say, nope, don't hand hold those kids. Well, we need to hand hold those kids.
Well, we're in a different day and age where
Yeah.
we've got so much social interaction online, to where it's a lot easier to handhold.
You know, I understand the philosophy of let them trip, let them fall on their face and dust themselves off. And boy, they learn from that fall. I understand that. They're going to get plenty of opportunities in life to fall,
Right.
but we're not going to make them do that at OTC. And this is not just a recruitment, but it's a retention. Whenever, Lynn, we get you to enroll in classes, and you take your classes, and then life happens and you start getting these things that pop up. You know, a flat tire may not sound like a big deal to us. It is a huge financial consideration for a student.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to make a decision, tire or classes. Oh, wait, until the tire's fixed, I can't go to class, right? So our navigators actually assist with that. Not money, not here, fix it, but resources.
I love
Here's
that.
where you need to go.
Right,
Here
right.
are donors that are trying to
Right.
help students get along. So we are hand holding, we are helping them move step by step, but it's a retention. So if 100 students start and you end the semester with 82, that's not success. If you start with 100 and end with 98, that is success. We can't let students down. We can't let them fall through the cracks because they're not fully understanding the process. There's no rewards for anyone to let them fail. So this new student success redesign is a model to really do the handholding. There are no longer any lines. You know, student success is outside of the president's office. There's no lines out there.
See, that doesn't sound like a whole lot of handholding to me. That's just a matter of cheerleading somebody and making sure they have everything that they need to get from point A to point B. If you don't get to point B, it's your fault. We did everything we could to get you there. You know,
you actually said it better than me. It really isn't hand-holding. We are cheerleading. We are navigating. We are navigators navigating, frankly, a very difficult path, because sometimes we as higher education institutions create difficult paths, but more often than not, we're responding to some federal or state regulations that require us to navigate a certain path. And it can just be overwhelming for an 18-year-old. And it's even more overwhelming for a 48-year-old. So let's not pretend all of our students are 18 years old. We have a large number of our students.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Cliff. What's your average age of student? You've got in Missouri, for all the listeners out there and people that's watching today, you've got Missouri. So almost every high school student can qualify that if they want 2 years of free education, college education.
That's amazing.
They can get it. It's paid for. It's paid for, and it's not hard for a high school student to accomplish that and get that. And now we don't want them to fail when they get there. So I'm really proud of that program.
You're exactly right. That's a great point, Lynn. You don't want them to fail after the state has invested. Let's also remind the listeners that this is a great investment by the state, because community college tuition's very low.
Very low compared to.
And so they're paying a very low entry fee to help these kids get moving forward. So if they move to the university, they go without debt. If they go into the workforce, they go without debt. They go straight into the workforce.
Praise God.
Missouri started this, I think, under Governor Carnahan in 1992 or 93.
Right.
And, you know, it's a $34-36 million deal now. But every high schooler in the state of Missouri has the opportunity to go to a community college, with and graduate without debt.
And you
It's
know
amazing.
what? Whether you go to a four-year university or you go to a technical college, your first year or two is going to be the same courses, no matter where you go.
That's exactly right.
So you're going to be paying a lot lower tuition for those students. They're getting it free
Mhm.
because the government's paying for it. The taxpayers are paying for it in the state of Missouri. Not every state does that.
No, they don't.
Not every state does that. In fact, I'm surprised that when I started looking into that when I was in the state house, a lot of states don't have that program. Missouri has a unique program that helps every family. It helps the family as well as the student.
And by the way, we don't consider it free tuition. We consider it a scholarship.
Yeah.
Because you have to do certain things when you're in high school. You have to have, a certain attendance. You have to do certain things. You have to demonstrate
A little public service. You
that
have
I'm
to help.
responsible, right?
Community service,
Right. So,
and good attendance.
Mhm.
You don't have to make straight A's to get that scholarship, but you have to make good grades,
mhm.
and so have good habits
Right.
and things like that. So that's amazing too. Well, let's talk about you're the president of the campus in Ozark,
Mhm.
Richmond Valley. So what kind of unique programs are they doing? I think every one of your schools is probably doing something a little different.
So, right, the main campus in Springfield kind of has almost everything, but not everything. When I was the president of the Table Rock campus in Branson, we specialized in allied health programs. We had the ASN nursing program. We had the two different levels of nursing programs. We had a number of allied health programs. At the Richwood Valley campus, we were mainly a general education transfer, but we also had a physical therapy assistant program. We had medical training assistant program. But in the last 2 years, we about a year before I got there, we had the agriculture program transferred. So we have 90 acres at the Richwood Valley
Right.
campus, and we were teaching agriculture in Springfield. Well, what we were really teaching was just turf and landscaping because you couldn't do animal science. Well, Southwest Missouri is a huge agriculture community,
Mhm.
and they desperately need that kind of training. So a good friend of mine, Len probably know him from development in Christian County, a guy by the name of Mike Seitz. He gave us a bunch of steers and later gave us a bunch of heifers. And another developer from Christian County, Brad Teague, he gave us some sheep. And so now we have animals for our students so we have grown from almost no animal science, in fact, from no animal science majors to 180, 190 majors in animal science. And by the way, over 70% of our students in the ag program are females.
That's
Wow.
fantastic.
And let me tell you something, they are tougher than nails. They are smart. They are hardworking. I am bullish on the future of agriculture in the state of Missouri, and it's going to be female-led, and it's going to be unbelievable.
Well, if you didn't have great programs and everything, you wouldn't have the success you're having down there with all of them, and also people donating to the college and animals and such.
Absolutely.
I know they're calling for a break, Lynn.
Yeah, we're going to
so
take
probably
a break.
have to run, but
Yeah, we're
kudos
going
on
to do.
that.
Yeah, we're going to do. I tell you what, this is so interesting. We kind of went over our time, but we're going to talk about our sponsors, and then we'll get right back to our show. So don't go anywhere. I want you to listen to our three great sponsors that make this show possible. The first sponsor is Brad Pistole, Pistole, and he is a certified fiduciary financial planner in Ozark, Missouri. And he turns out to be one of the best financial planners in the entire country in Ozark, Missouri. And his telephone number, be sure and get your pencil and paper out. We're going to be giving some important numbers out. His number is 417-581-9222, 581-9222. When you call that number, either Lisa or Hunter, his son, will answer the phone, and they're going to get you information. Now, Brad is only licensed, I believe, in Arkansas, Missouri, and Kansas. Well, that's only 3 states. We got 47 other states. Guess what? He goes around the country speaking everywhere, and he knows financial advisors just like him in other states. So just because you're not in one of those 3 states doesn't mean you can't do business with people like Brad Pistole. He'll make sure. My wife and I, we have all our retirement planning through Brad Pistole, and We haven't lost $1, not $1 during all the declines as it goes up and down, up and down. I don't have to worry about it because I'm still making money every day and I've lost no money. And so when you're thinking about retiring, you don't want to lose money at the end of your retirement age, and you start worrying about if you're going to have enough money to live on. So extremely important to always be planning ahead. It's never too early to think about retirement. But when you call him, he's going to give you a book called Safe Money Matters. That was his #1 best-selling Amazon financial planning book. It's #1 in the country. Wow. And then he wrote another book and published it in December of last year called Bulletproof. And it's a continuation. And Ed Slott, who is one of the best known in the country on IRAs and things like this, investment planning, has also written part of that book with Brad. So they're going to give you all that stuff. They're going to give that to you. And I'm just telling you, Brad Pistow is the real deal. If you want to have peace of mind about retirement planning, he's the guy to talk to. And we got another great sponsor, and that's his Youngblood Motor Group in Springfield, Missouri. Cliff, you know those guys. John Whittaker and John Youngblood, they've been in business over 43 years in Southwest Missouri. No family-owned business in the car business has been in business longer than they are. They are the #1 oldest car business, family-owned car business in the Springfield area. And they specialize in Nissan and Kia. Those are new cars. But if you want a used car, they have over 150 cars at any one time right across the street on South Campbell. They've got their new lot on the one side. They've got their used car lot on the other side of South Campbell. And they have all these cars that are certified cars that will give you peace of mind when you buy the car, that you don't have to worry that something's going to happen to it as soon as you drive it off the parking lot. They have great used cars. And for a lot of us, we have to buy used cars today. Something else that they do, Cliff, I don't know if you know this or not, but I think this is pretty interesting. You don't have to go to I'm the old-fashioned guy. I'm the guy that goes to the lot, talks to the salesman, does all the paperwork and do all that stuff. But the young people out there, the smart, savvy people, they can actually buy a car online, never talk to anybody in the parking lot. So you don't have to worry about whether it's hot or cold. You do it at home, and you can do your trade-in. You can do everything online.
And have it delivered.
And they'll deliver it to your house. And if you don't like that car, you have a 72-hour guarantee. If you don't like that car, they'll bring you another car. But in 72 hours, you can put your wife over there in the passenger seat and buckle up the kids in the back seat, put the dog back there, put the luggage, kind of practice with some luggage and go around the block, go to the grocery store, do some things. And if you don't like that car, he'll bring you another one. Nobody does that. So that's John Youngblood, John Whittaker. My last 2 Grand Cherokees I bought from those guys. I'll be buying my next car from them too. And it may be a hybrid car. We'll see.
They're probably waiting on you today. You can go trade today.
I know, but I still like my car that I got. But I do like these guys, you know. And our third sponsor, I don't know Louis, but Louis Michael, you know that guy?
I've heard of him.
Well, yeah, he's a good guy. And you are our third sponsor. You represent the firm in Ozark, Missouri.
Yes.
That's a great Parham family that's been doing that for probably 40 or 50 years.
At least.
Yeah. And I know all of the Parham family. They're just a tremendous family.
Sonia Wells owns the new firm. So she renamed it. Her and her late husband, Rick Wells, started it several years ago.
Right.
So I was able to jump in with them.
So I tell you what, you're working for a great company. Louis, you know, your telephone number, if you want to get a hold of Louis, 417-988-1086, 988-1086. You can buy homes. He can help you sell your home. You know, when he earns your business and he makes a transaction for you, helps you with a transaction, part of the proceeds that he gets, he's going to donate to his own cause. He's got a nonprofit called Choosing to Live, proving to people that they all have purpose. Everyone has purpose in life, and we should have hope. And so he's got this great organization making sure that people choose to live and not take their life. And so I applaud you for that.
Well, thank you.
Because I mean,
that's where my heart's at. I just want to be a cheerleader of people, and the real estate and the entertainment business, all that stuff I'm involved in is just a way for me to help support it and get it off the ground. Luckily, we're getting some great sponsors in, and Ozark, Mark Burgess, a good friend of mine, he's been a great sponsor. We've got Donna Presley on my board, that she's Elvis's first cousin, and we've got some heavy hitters. But our main goal is all the same thing, to try to help cheerlead people to get through today and get to tomorrow.
Sure.
And live life. So if you're dealing with any sort of PTSD, stress, anxiety, go to neversuicide.org. There's lots of great tools there to help you. And I'm always available for a phone call too, if I can help at all.
Yeah, very good. I tell you what,
Fantastic.
and we've had Louis on before, and he's told his life story, and you know,
It's one of those roller coasters.
Well, and honestly, if it hadn't have been that last second when God intervened and kept you from pulling that trigger, you wouldn't be here today.
I wouldn't have.
And that's how close people can be in life today. And that's one of the things that Don, my co-host, and I, and now Louis, we want to make sure that people enjoy life, that you have hope,
Live big.
that there's something good for you out there. And that's why we try to do this show, is to try to educate people and to know that there's value out there for everybody.
And I got to say, I'm sorry to interrupt, but something like the technical college, you said they came about in the early 90s, I believe. Mm-hmm. I graduated in 89. And at that point, I had a baseball career, and I was supposed to sign with the Cardinals and had high hopes, and was following through in my dad's footsteps, thought that's what I was supposed to be, a professional baseball player. But I didn't have anybody really telling me about all the different trades that I could possibly do or things that I could become, because I knew 4 years of college for me wasn't in the cards. I just couldn't stomach that. 4 years of high school was long enough. And of course, going through depression and stuff that I was going through in high school after I got hurt, didn't know what direction I was going to go in. But if I had somebody whispering in my ear that you could go learn how to be a plumber or a lineman, or, the only thing I knew about a lineman was Glenn Campbell sang a beautiful song about one. But I wish I'd had those opportunities, and what you guys are doing and giving hope to some of these kids in school that may not feel like they can go to a 4-year college and study social sciences or whatever. They can go learn a trade like their dad did or their grandpa did. But a lot of those guys learn just by hands-on, in a shop somewhere. But I think what you guys are doing is great. It gives a lot of hope to a lot of young people.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very good. Well, so anyway, that is our 3 sponsors, and we really appreciate our 3 sponsors for making this show a reality. And I guess back to you, Cliff, kind of as we kind of close up today, kind of speak about what you see as, because you've been doing this for a long time now, what do you see as the future of higher education, the 2-year technical schools, the 4-year universities? What do you see out there?
Sure. Well, what we're discovering is that higher education had very little change from the beginning till recent years. We're starting to see a lot more ways we do stuff. One example, the way we deliver education. OTC has had an online program since Hal Higdon arrived in 2006. I mean, that was a priority. So we were doing online education early. Now, here's a reality. When you take a class online, students succeed at a lower level than they do when they're in a seated class, but sometimes they can't take a seated class, right? So we've started doing these classes where it's at 9 o'clock, so it's got a time you have to be there, but your instructor may well be in Lebanon, but you're taking a class from Branson or from my class or my college. And so we're changing up how we deliver. So it's kind of online, but it's still face-to-face. You still have interactions with your faculty member. You are seeing me and I'm seeing you behind a screen. I mean, we've been doing Zoom for a couple of years. We're getting used to that. But the way we deliver higher education is different. I think that we've really talked about the bigger changes, and that is not the advent, but the acceptance now of the trades. A stigma attached to it for so many years. And frankly, a stigma was attached to community colleges. People, my kid could graduate from high school and they could go to OTC for free for 2 years, then transfer to the university. But, I went to the university for 4 years, so I want my kid to go. And you're going to see community college enrollment increase over the years. We're seeing smaller class sizes. I already mentioned that. High school class sizes. Thus, we're seeing lesser students. We're wildly dependent on state funding. The public institutions are. States are tightening up. We've been through a pretty flush period, but that's going to end in the next year. So funding of higher education is going to continue to be a problem. As the newest community college in the state, we're still the lowest funded community college in the state.
Yeah.
And we're doing great things, right? We're doing fantastic things, but money is still an issue. So I think we just need to be aware that how we deliver higher education is going to change. We also need to be aware that at one time, if you were in higher education, it was a noble profession, and more people dislike people. I mean, there's become a split in society, and I hate to see that. I understand why, but I hate to see it.
It's driven by a lot of different factors.
A lot of different factors, and we're out of time on that, right?
Right, exactly. Not enough time in the day for that. I know you mentioned earlier there's a lot of different campuses around Southwest Missouri. Is there a particular area that you guys are eyeballing that you can give us a sneak peek on where you might end up next?
Well, there is an area we're eyeballing, and I can't tell you.
I tried.
But I can't.
But you might be selling real estate around that place.
That's right. Be insider trading of sorts, maybe.
If you knew that, but anyway, I think we got about 5 minutes left. Is that about right? So we got some times, but one of the things I think that we need to make sure that people understand is that these technical colleges they're going to grow in importance. I really believe they are. Now, if you're going to be a teacher, and we need teachers, we need a lot of teachers. Unfortunately, teachers need to get paid more too, and that's another issue, another time. But I still think that there's so many kids. I'm trying to talk to my grandkids right now with my 6 grandkids. Not every one of my 6 grandkids are going to end up with a college degree, a 4-year college degree, like my wife and I have. But I think they're going to do very well if they'll pay attention and do what they love to do. And so it's kind of like
every child is so different.
Oh yeah,
and how they learn, what their heart is.
Yeah, it's kind of like our son. He loved sports at school, Ozark, and he loved cars and computers. And those are the things he dealt with all the time. Speakers in his cars, all that type of stuff. Always building computers, working on computers, but he didn't do well at OTC. He did not do well at Missouri State. He didn't do well either place. That was my money, and so together we didn't do well. But when he met his future wife that he ended up marrying, that was going to pharmacy school because he met her at one of our stores, pharmacies. I had a talk with him, son. What are you going to do when you marry this young lady and she's going to be providing all this income for your family? She's going to be making a good income. What are you going to do? And he said, I don't know. I said, well, what do you like to do? I said, I know you like computers and you know how to do all this stuff on computers, about computers. And so I talked him into, they went off to Kansas City together. And while she was in pharmacy school, he was taking computer science courses at University of Missouri, Kansas City. And then we helped him get a job with a pharmacy software company that put software in for pharmacies right down our alley. So he came back and helped us as our computer programmer and running our software system. But he got all that training and got a degree because of that thing that he likes to do.
Found what he loved.
Got to find your passion.
And that's what you have to do. But it's not everybody, because if I'd have told him, well, you're just going to have to read book after book after book and take these classes, that wouldn't have worked out very well. So that's
and you gotta find what you love. And one of my favorite people that did a lot for me, the late Ralph K. Manley. I spent a lot of time with him and delivering appliances to houses, or we'd go surprise people with different things. But he'd always tell me, like he told a lot of people, he'd hand out those silver dollars and say, you have, life's like this coin. You got 2 choices, 50-50. But how do you increase those odds to be successful? You learn something. You go to school, make it 70-30, and then pretty soon you've got this knowledge and you find your passion. He said, most of all, find a need and fulfill it.
Right.
And so look at all the needs that are around us every day. There's a lot of them that need to be fulfilled, but they got to be trained to do it.
Absolutely.
Think how many silver dollars. I have two. I got two because I reminded him after he gave me the first one, he was giving me a second one. And I said, sir, I've already got one of your silver dollars. And he almost took it back, but he said, no. He said, I want you to have this silver dollar. And so I have two of his, and I've kept them separate.
I think it was over 40,000 that he'd given away.
Really? Well,
I've got 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So that's just an amazing thing. Well, next week, Cliff, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
You are a difference maker. Don always says, be the change.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're being the change and a difference maker, you and the people at OTC, Ozark Technical Community College, you guys are just tremendous difference makers for Southwest Missouri, and we appreciate that. Next week, we're going to have Hard Work U. They're going to come up from Branson area,
Very nice.
and Hollister area, and we're going to talk about how a student can go through 4 years of college and not owe anything when they get out of school. It's a great concept, and so we're going to have them on. The next week, we're going to have Ozark High School on, because they're going to be talking about their academies program. Cliff, have you seen their academies program?
It's phenomenal, unbelievable.
So it's career paths. This is really neat, Louis. They've got 7 or 8 different career paths, and they're going to actually start in junior high school, and then their high school has all been reprogrammed. And so they've got all this technology equipment. They've got X-ray machines. They got laboratory equipment. They've got all this stuff.
It's phenomenal.
And so there's no reason why a high school student shouldn't know what they're going to do when they get out of school, what they'd like to do in life, because they're going to funnel them through all these. They can choose and change their mind and go through those paths.
I'm grinning
because it's going to be awesome.
I'm grinning because I'm 51 and I'm still not sure what I want to be when I grow up. I've tried everything.
Well, I know. I tell you what, that you're exactly right. And I'm still looking for things.
I truly wish I'd been that kid that knew exactly what I wanted to be when I was a freshman or whatever, but it didn't work out that way.
Well, it sure would help. I mean, because college is expensive, and it's like owning a business. You don't want to spend more money than you have to. So it's time is everything. So you want to get in and
focus,
get out and stuff like that. Well, so I think we've run out of time, and we'll be back next Wednesday at 9 a.m. Thank you for watching today, and be sure and share this. You can watch this on Facebook anytime on Acts Media Group. Just watch our show, Changing Times. Tell your friends. We're on Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Daily Motion, Rumble. We're all over the networks of social media.
Changing Times, hashtag Backstreet Boys, hashtag no, wait.
That's good.
Amen. Do I hear a hallelujah? Can I get a hoorah from a